Hello, and today we'll be playing Lyre. I'm about to start the 5th video now. Get to safety. Come down outside too. Just a minute, just get out here. Was you all blind? Them? No, you idiot. His car, back there. I don't feel like myself. Everything hurts. I'm struggling to breathe for some reason. Did the wind get knocked out of me? I try to lift my arms, but they don't move. I can't move. Have I been paralyzed? No. I may not be able to move, but I can feel pain and tiredness. The breathing dust clutters my sinuses. I try to open my eyes, but as expected, that doesn't work either. I feel like an absolute mess. I don't remember how I could have gotten into this situation. Am I reliving the avalanche? No, I don't think I am. It's too hot. Something isn't right. My entire body feels like it isn't my own. I have this urge to yell, but nothing comes out. Then there's my legs. They feel like they're being crushed. It feels like my feet aren't even there. The hopeful feeling, however, is I feel more awake by the minute. Am I asleep? Yeah, this is just a dream. Nothing to worry about. I'm actually kind of glad. Usually I've never been able to realize when I'm in a dream. Something like that was very rare for me. I don't know how to wake up though. The ring in my ear slowly subsides. I can hear the rustling of leather in front of me, and there's also the sound of struggling. Without even trying, my arms struggle to push myself up. There's something on top of me. I can't get out from underneath it. My eyes are tightly squinted. I'm not doing this. It's like I don't even have control. Am I even me? My eyes open and everything's blurred. It's like I just woke up. I'm laying on hard rocky ground and there's splintered wood all over the place. After a minute, I'm gaining my sentences. I look up and see two figures. I start to violently move around underneath the rubble and reach a hand out. This isn't my hand. It hurts a lot and one of the fingers might be broken. Through the rips in the glove, I can see brown fur sticking out. What the hell is going on? My mouth moves, but my own voice doesn't come out. So stop. Please. Raynor? I'm Raynor? No, I'm just dreaming that I'm Raynor. Then this is... Oh no. After being infatuated with my circumstances, I finally realize where I am. Queen Alina is unconscious and being held hostage by a figure in a ragged cloak. He looks like a lizard, but I can't see his face. Just his vibrant red eyes. He's got a jagged dagger raised and aimed to strike. The silks on her clothes are scuffed up and torn. Her face is scratched and bruised. She's covered in dust and chips of debris. Why would I do that? If you let her go and cease his attack, the kingdom of Lyre will take no answer. Raynor's hand is trembling and I can feel all of his movements. His body is shaking and his chest is heaving. I can feel his tail pressed flat against his rear. The debris and wood from the carriage is laying on one of his antlers, so he can't move his head very well. This is very strange. No, this is terrifying. It's like I'm seeing through his eyes. It feels so real too. I find that hard to believe. I swear it. A dreadfully long silence falls on the area. It's broken by the sound of him raising the knife higher into the air. I didn't come here to make deals. I know what's coming and I wish I could close my eyes. No! It happens in an instant, but It feels like an eternity. I collapse underneath the rubble and fall apart. I hear Miss Anguish and as he lets out loud guttural screams of pain. I can feel the warm feeling of tears streaming down his face. Stop it, please. Let me help her. Raynor gathers his strength and begins to lift with all of his might. The carriage budges a bit, but it's not enough for him to get out from underneath it. You'll be with her soon enough. No. I can hear the bandit stepping closer. His footsteps stop. Damn. He runs away as I hear shouting on the right. It sounds like a large group of men running towards the cart. Several bandits are being chased and run by the carriage. Raynor's eyes are too teary to see. After a few seconds, he lifts his head and opens them. Lyre? He was here? It's him, but he's younger. He looks to be 14, maybe younger. His fur is spotted on the face, almost like freckles. His hair fur is short and ruffled. He's wearing sturdy leather armor with a sunquest in the center. His entire left side and sword is shimmering with crimson blood. Lyre may be young, but he looks beaten and worn out. Boy, stay here. I can see his paw clenching around the handle of his sword. We were so close. No, we can handle this. Help the Queen and King. After that, return to Lord Byron. That's an order. Raynor turns to the soldier, speaking to Lyre. Go after him, now. He sounds absolutely infuriated. I can distinctly hear the sadness turn to rage. A couple of soldiers run to Elena's side and begin tending to her. Some other soldiers start to lift the broken carriage. Lyre looks down at Elena, then turns to me. Who did this? Oh my God. The right side of Lyre's face has been ripped vertically by a thick red gas. No, is this how he got it? Blood rushes down the side of his face and his eye is closed shut. Raynor grunts as I can feel the debris be lifted off of him. The bastard with the green scales and the dagger. Elena's stomach is soaked in blood that pools onto the ground. I can feel a massive weight lifted off of Raynor's legs as the wreck is raised higher. Help her, please. Lyre looks down at Elena again with a troubled look on his face. Here, get up. Get up. Ones. Wake up. Richter, wake up. Lyre is standing over my bed, shaking me by the shoulders. Ah! He has a worried look on his face. Seeing his groomed fur and adult features, a stark contrast to what I had just seen. You were having a nightmare. You look really bad. No, I wasn't. My entire back is coated in sweat and my face feels hot. My clothes are practically sticking to my body. That was no nightmare. That was... Now puts a palm to his head after my shouting fit. He's probably hungover from last night. My entire body is shaking as I look down at my hands. They're exactly how they usually are. You don't look so good. Did you catch a cold? Maybe going into town was a bad idea. I'll go and get leave. No. I need to see Raynor. Why would you need to see him? I've been having very strange dreams and I need to talk to him, Lyre. Okay, but can you do that later? Right now you need to rest. Lyre, I don't have a cold. I'm fine. I need to see him. I slide off a bed and plant my feet on the ground. It's cold, so I grab the shoes that I kicked off on my feet last night. They sit in the corner of the room, one on top of the other. I adjust my coat and walk to the door. My hair is a mess, but I decide that I won't be needing to pull it back. I stand in the doorway and look back at Lyre. He has a conflicted look of worry on his face. I go through the doorway and begin to sprint down the hallway. Unsurprisingly, it's very cold out. I think I hear Lyre exit the door after me, but it doesn't seem like He's chasing me down. I turn a corner and sprint towards the dining chambers. It's where he would most likely be right about now. He's been using it as a place to hold meetings, and he's been working in there a lot. The other council room hasn't been used in a very long time, so they're still cleaning it out. What just happened? That dream was so vivid. I don't think it was a dream. Something's really wrong. It was like there were rules. The circumstances were so realistic and it was too well structured. I could feel the sweat running down the side of my head. I feel like an absolute mess. This doesn't feel like something that I just imagined in my head. The events seem too real. I realize that I'm practically sticking all over my body as I sprint down the echoing halls. Maybe it was just a nightmare, a coincidence. Please tell me that was all in my head. I reach the door and fling it open. Raynor. There he is, sitting at the table. His head jerks in my direction as I throw open the door. What's this? Sitting next to him is a woman I've never met before. What, a human? The only human I know of is a guard under Lyre's command, but this isn't her. She's a bit shocked to see me burst into the room. Her expression turns to one to discuss. I don't dare, though. This is important to me, and I've been courteous for too long. It's driving me insane. Sorry, King Raynor. I walk up to the table and press my hands down on it, supporting my weight. Hello, Lord Richter. What is the meaning of this chaotic entrance? Thou leans into the doorway with a sleepless grin. Your Majesty. Y'all. Yes, we all know who we are. Really? Who is she? I point at the woman who is now standing up from her chair. War Minister Renee. Elizabeth Renee. Pleasure. I try to get a word in to Raynor, but she turns to him. Is this the ambassador you were telling me about? I guess he's from Erwin. Raynor. They both turn to me with shocked expressions. He now steps into the room, raises his hands in a comforting manner. Yes, Richter. Raynor's look of surprise changes to one of genuine concern. I take a deep breath and begin. Remember the talk that we had last night? A searing burn works its way through my head. I almost collapse onto the table from the pain, but I manage to support myself with my arm as I bring my hand to my head. Someone should get leave. He isn't looking too good. No, I'm fine. I just need to know about last night. But this isn't the time to talk about that. Please, Raynor, you have to trust me. You said that you could remember every detail that day, correct? He doesn't answer at first. My head is splitting open. Yes. I say the next sentence, tapping my finger on the table for emphasis. Who did it? There is a very long pause before he speaks. There's a look of curiosity on his face. It was a bandit. Yes, but what did he look like? Why do you need to know this? Please, you have to trust me. He looks down at the table. My head feels like it's going to crack like an egg. I hate to do this, but I have so many questions and very strange things are happening. Things I don't understand. We don't know the exact species, but he was a reptile. He was dressed in a black, brown cloak, and he was carrying a wretched dagger. Oh my God! A rapid sharp pain shoots through my body, starting at my feet and ending at my head. It causes me to arc and lean my head back, looking up. Ah! Richter! I feel myself fall into someone's arms. What happened to him? Going to be okay? It should be fine. I hope so. My eyes feel like they have been sealed shut, and my head is throbbing with a dull pain. I'm laying in bed on my back with a few pillows, propping my head up. It's very cold. I force my eyes open. This seems oddly familiar. Both Lyre and Lyre are on the other side of the room. Leaf is sitting at my desk writing on a piece of parchment. Lyre has his hands on the desk and is leaning over it, watching what Leaf is writing. Leaf looks very small in my chair, his shoulders barely coming up over the desk. I slowly sit up in bed and they turn to me. "You're awake." Leaf hops off. Leaf hops out of the chair and they both walk up to my bed. "How long have I been out?" I put the covers up a bit, realizing I'm not wearing a shirt. "About a day. Today is the winter solstice." "What happened?" "You tell us." "You were really distressed and on edge in the dying chambers." It all comes back to me after he says that. I do seem to remember something like that. I hope I didn't offend the king. He wasn't offended, just confused. The war minister was more confused, though. He let out this painful yell before falling over. Oh, that must have been a great first impression. I'm sure it was. He says this with all the sarcasm he can muster. "I managed to catch you before you hit the floor, though, so you should be fine." He says this with a tone of proudness in his voice, which I can't help but smile at. I feel fine, though. My head hurts a little, and I still can't shake the thought of that creepy dream I had, but I feel fine. It predicted information that I had no knowledge of. I can still remember everything clearly, right down to the nearest detail. Would you mind telling me what had you so troubled? I take a moment to gather my thoughts before telling him. He grabs a quill and a piece of parchment and gets ready to write. Had this dream the night before. It was about the murder of Queen Elena. Who told you about that? Reno did, just the day before. The only problem with the dream was that it felt too real. I didn't realize this at first, but I was experiencing it from Reno's perspective. I also didn't have any control over anything. I remember the horrible feeling of not being able to do anything as those awful events unfolded before me. It must have been worse for Reno, considering he actually couldn't do anything. The scariest part about it was that there were things in the dream that I didn't even know about. Events, people, all sorts of things. Every detail was laid out for me on a silver platter, and Reno confirmed some of these details for me, which is what I had feared the most. I paused to rub my eyes. Mel is staring at me in a curious look. Leaf is gazing at me, taking everything in and giving me his full attention. I hope that it was just a coincidence, but it feels like much more than that. What things did you see? I saw Elena's murder. It was a reptile in a black coat. What color were his eyes? He blurts this out immediately with a look of determination on his face. Red, almost glowing. He crosses his arms tightly across his chest and then looks at the floor with a thoughtful glance. I want to tell him about how I saw him in the dream, but Leaf speaks before I can. This is very odd. He folds up the piece of parchment and places the quill back on the desk. Thank you for telling me this. I'm going to go and see what I can figure out with a little time before the festivities. It seemed well enough to go about your day, but I would suggest resting up a bit before the night. He walks over to the door and opens it. I'll look for something to help with the nightmares, and I'll let you know if I find anything. He steps through the door and closes it with a soft thud. Now it's standing there, looking at the floor. He seems afraid. I can see his tail tucked between his legs. What's wrong? He looks up at me with a solemn look. He anxiously rubs his thumb between his fingers. No? Yes, Richter? How did he get that scar? He brings a paw up to his face and gently rubs at the old wound. I got it from the... He fidgets with his paws and his tail droops a bit. I know this must be an uncomfortable topic, but will you mind telling me what happened? You don't have to if you don't want to. His chest inflates as he takes a deep breath and he begins to speak. I told you about how I squired for Lord Byron before I was knighted, correct? Yes. I was 13 at the time when the king requested Lord Byron to meet them halfway at an outpost in the canyons. The king and queen were on their way back from a trip to Dries. They wanted him to be there for an important discussion with a Dresian diplomat. It was a long trip, and I was very excited. It was my first time outside the kingdom. I didn't get to see much, though. Just another one in some of the canyons. They were huge, but nothing like the mountains west of here. He just his head in the direction of the window where the mountains roll down to the water's edge. On our way back, the attack happened. I was among some of the soldiers who were part of the defense. I didn't have much training, but I held my own pretty well. And thankfully I didn't have to kill anyone. I could see his words catch at his throat. But I fought him. The man who killed her. Really? I'm sure of it. His tail is now stiffly tucked between his legs. It was a rather quick fight. He was running towards the water killers and I cut his tail. He turned around and grazed me with his knife. It cut a huge gash into my face, but thankfully my eye is fine. I can see it out. I can still see out of it, but not as good as my other. He looks at the ground, clenching his fist. Can we not talk about this? Of course. Thank you. I just don't like to talk about it because every time I ask myself a question. What would have happened if I had stopped him? Things could have been different. And I can see his eyes welling up with tears. I get out of bed and envelop him in a warm embrace. His arm is cold on my bare chest. It's okay. None of that is your fault. You can't change the past. He seems a bit shocked at the sudden physical contact, but he returns the favor and wraps his arms around me. Thank you, Victor. That was a really awful event. We stepped back from each other and I sat down onto the bed. I just have one more question. It's not about that. Where is it? Your family. The Reed family. Yes? I'm not very familiar with them. In the era, we don't hear much of the nobles, especially from Lyre. Would you mind telling me about them? Not all. The Reeds are a very old family. Records of our lineage dates back almost 500 years. Well, that's a long time. He nods his head enthusiastically. Yes, our family has served the Argent family for generations. At one point, we were the second most powerful family in all of Lyre. But over the years, that has changed. The Reeds are dying out. There aren't a lot of us left. My father, Marcus Reed, is the lord of our lord's keep in the Golden Timber. I am his only child and have no interest in women, so I cannot continue the family name. He says this in a hushed voice. He can pester me all he wants, but I'm not getting married, especially now that I've given my life and heart to this kingdom. So our family will most likely die out, but I've accepted it at this point. Once my father passes away, I'll be the last Reed. Has a nice ring to it. I guess it does. I just have one more question. Yes? What does your family crest look like? Ah, yes. It's, He pats over to my desk and grabs a piece of parchment and a quill. Do you mind? No, not at all. He starts drawing on the paper and he describes it. The area where I'm from, the Golden Timber, is a little bit northwest of here. It's called that because when it snows, the trees will shine like gold as the rays of sunlight pass through the snow-covered leaves. It is said that when my ancestor Bardolph Reed was born, it was during an eclipse. He finishes his drawing and swipes the parchment off of the desk. Here, this is what it looks like. He holds up a drawing of a symbol that I recognize. It's painted on his armor in my dream. I've never seen the symbol anywhere else, though. It's not on Lyle's armor, considering the royal armor is plastered with the Argent crest. Another sort of pain flows through my body as I try to remember. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Just a small headache. Lies come easy to me when I'm telling half-truths. You should rest for a bit. The ball tonight, I don't think you'll want to miss it. You have your outfit ready, right? Yeah. Great. Will I be seeing you there? Yes, I'll be there. I'll be doing my job, but I'll be there. That was my chance. I really wanted to ask him if he would like to go out with me. Are you going with anyone? I see his tail switch side to side. No, I'm not really going with anyone, but rather go just to have fun, you know? Oh, yeah, damn it. I feel the same way. The next few seconds are extremely awkward. Why am I so bad at this? I find it silly how I'm able to ask heavy questions like the ones I've been asking for the past day, but I can't ask a handsome wolf to a dance. Now that I'm thinking about it, I've never been good at romance. Well, I'm gonna leave now. Let's just get some rest, okay? He walks over to the door. I'll see you this afternoon then. Of course. He opens it and walks through, closing it softly. Once the door is closed, I lay down in bed and pull the covers up over me. I'm still trying to comprehend the dream that I had. It was similar to the others, but much more vivid. Considering the way things played out, I'm not entirely opposed to the idea of it being some sort of vision. That just scares me more, though. I lay there for a few minutes trying to fall asleep, but my mind keeps racing. After a couple of minutes of focusing my mind on other things, I managed to become drowsy. The next few hours are filled with restless sleep as I find myself tossing and turning in bed. So, got to see how Queen Elena actually died. And apparently, Winter has. Well, I don't think that was really a dream. I don't know. Because it felt like he was really Waynor, and that he couldn't control his body because he wasn't himself. He was actually King Waynor in that dream. So you got to see everything with how the queen died and how King Waynor felt as everything was happening. We also got to see Lyre as a young 13-year-old, along with the entourage of people protecting the king and queen. And we also got to find out how he got his scar. So, and when he talked to both King Waynor and Lyre, both of them confirmed what he saw in the dream. I think maybe it's a dream, but some different kind of dream. I don't know, but I think it might be something else, and not just any dream. So, got to meet the Minister of War, who was a human woman, and Winter certainly did not give a very good first impression on her. And that's all I have to say for now. So we got to learn exactly how things happened. Well, but we also got to see how things happened. We already learned how things happened in the previous videos, but we actually got to see it through Winter's dreams. So, all the information for the VN is in the description box below. Thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.